returned early from a tech conference to find 120 strangers in my mansion under a banner. Legacy lives on. My mother and brother had planned a secret gala without telling me. I didn't confront them. I took a different path. 3 weeks later, my phone showed 142 missed calls, and my brother was screaming, "Family means nothing now." I'm Dr. Elizabeth Harper, Liz, to the few who know me beyond my title. At 32, I'm the lead AI-driven cybersecurity expert at Nexus Tech in Seattle, the kind of woman who spends her days outsmarting hackers trying to cripple power grids or siphon billions from banks. My life is a high-stakes chess game played in server rooms and boardrooms, where one wrong move could cost lives. 3 days ago, I was in San Francisco standing on a stage under blinding lights, unveiling an AI defense protocol that had DARPA executives whispering my name like I was the second coming of Turing. I just secured a Pentagon contract offer and a personal invite from Dr. Evelyn Kessler to join a global cybersecurity task force. Exhausted but buzzing with adrenaline, I caught an early flight home to Seattle, craving the quiet of my waterfront mansion. My sanctuary had gifts in my carry-on: a bottle of rare Macallan whiskey for my brother Nathan, artisanal chocolates for his wife Claire, and a vintage tech book for my mother Margaret. I thought, maybe, just maybe, we could toast my triumph together. God, was I naive. The Uber dropped me a block from my house because the street was a parking lot. Sleek Teslas, vintage Jaguars, and SUVs with out-of-state plates choked the curb. I figured some tech bro neighbor was throwing a yacht party, but as I wheeled my suitcase closer, my stomach twisted. I knew these cars. That was Uncle David's restored Mustang, Cousin Mark's BMW with the ski rack, Aunt Patricia's minivan plastered with vineyard stickers. My pulse quickened. The mansion's floor-to-ceiling windows glowed like a beacon, music and laughter spilling out into the damp Seattle night. Through the glass, I saw it, a massive banner strung across my living room. Legacy lives on. My hands shook as I fumbled my key into the lock, the weight of something sinister settling in my chest. The door swung open and I froze. The foyer was a chaos of coats, shoes, and champagne flutes abandoned on my marble console. The air was thick with perfume and the clatter of 100 voices. Then a groan above me, metal screeching against metal. I looked up just as the massive crystal chandelier, a $40,000 0-cent centerpiece of my home, plummeted. I dove sideways, my suitcase skidding across the floor as the chandelier shattered inches from where I'd stood, glass exploding like shrapnel. Screams erupted, faces turned, and for a split second the room held its breath. My heart pounded as I scrambled to my feet, glass crunching under my boots. Someone had rigged it to fall. This wasn't an accident. Liz! Oh my God, are you okay? Cousin Sophia, wineglass in hand, rushed toward me, her eyes wide. The crowd parted, whispers rippling like a tide. I stood there, suitcase handle still clutched in my trembling fist, staring at the wreckage of my home. My living room was a circus. 120 people, relatives I hadn't seen in years, tech moguls in tailored suits, and strangers I couldn't place, all mingling under that mocking banner. My furniture had been rearranged, my art swapped for family photos I wasn't in. Kids I didn't know were playing VR games on my 85-inch OLED TV. My kitchen island was a buffet, some aunt I vaguely recognized dishing out crab cakes from my Le Creuset pans. I felt like I'd walked into a parallel universe. This was my house, the mansion I'd poured my startup earnings into, co-owned with my brother Nathan, who lived in the main wing with his wife Claire, while our mother Margaret had the guest cottage out back. We had a legal agreement drafted by my attorney Susan, crystal clear. My penthouse upstairs was my private domain, and no event over 15 guests could happen without both our consents. Yet here was a full-blown gala planned for months, and I hadn't gotten so much as a text. "Liz, what are you doing here?" My mother's voice cut through the noise. Margaret emerged from the dining room, her silver hair swept into an elegant updo, her smile tight as a drum. She wore an emerald dress I'd never seen, playing the gracious hostess in my home. Nathan appeared behind her, his venture capitalist swagger faltering when he saw me. His wife Claire hovered at his elbow, her diamond earrings catching the light as she whispered something that made his jaw clench. "I live here," I said, my voice steady despite the earthquake inside me. "What the hell is going on?" "It's a family legacy celebration," Nathan said, forcing a grin that didn't reach his eyes. "We thought you were in San Francisco till tomorrow. Surprise." "Surprise?" I gestured at the crowd, the banner, the wreckage of my chandelier. "There's 120 people in our house, Nathan. You told me the place would be empty this weekend." Margaret waved a hand dismissive as ever. "We didn't want to bother you, Liz. You're always so busy with your computer stuff." "Cybersecurity," I corrected, my tone sharp. "And this isn't just a bother. This is my home." I scanned the room, spotting Uncle David chatting with a tech CEO I recognized from Forbes. Who are these investors? Why are they here? Claire stepped forward, her smile saccharine. "It's a family event, Liz, but we invited some business contacts to honor the Harper legacy. You know, Dad's software empire." Dad. Robert Harper, the man who coded the first real-time payment system in the 90s, who believed in me when no one else did. He'd died 6 years ago, a stroke stealing him before I could prove he was right to bet on me. The mention of him in this context, used to justify this betrayal, felt like a knife. I pushed past them, ignoring Margaret's protest, and climbed the stairs to my penthouse. The door, secured with a biometric lock only I could access, was ajar. My blood ran cold. Inside my sanctuary was a war zone. My servers, the heart of my personal AI projects, blinked erratically, their interfaces showing unauthorized access attempts. My bed was rumpled, someone's suitcase open on it. My journals where I scribbled ideas and dreams lay open on my desk, pages creased, and there, tucked under a pen, a note in unfamiliar handwriting. "You don't belong here." I sank into my chair, my mind racing. Someone had hacked my security system, bypassed my firewalls, and come this close to exposing sensitive client data that could cripple Nexus Tech, or worse, trigger a national security crisis. This wasn't just a family slight. This was sabotage. I grabbed my phone and snapped photos. Every violation, every intrusion, the servers, the bed, the note. Then I noticed the coffee table in my lounge. Dad's vintage computer prototype, a clunky 1980s relic he'd built with his own hands, was in pieces. A kid's juice cup sat beside it, sticky residue pooling around the shattered circuits. My throat tightened. That machine was Dad's first step to greatness, the only tangible piece of him I had left. Now it was garbage. Footsteps echoed behind me. Nathan stood in the doorway, his face a mix of guilt and defiance. "Liz, can we talk?" "Talk?" I spun to face him. "You let strangers into my penthouse, Nathan. My servers were hacked. Dad's prototype is destroyed, and you're throwing a gala you knew I wasn't invited to." "They're not strangers, they're family," he snapped, stepping inside. "And this is my house too. I co-own it, remember?" "Your house?" I laughed, bitter. "We have an agreement. My penthouse is off limits. You don't get to play Lord of the Manor because you're drowning in debt." His eyes narrowed. "What are you talking about?" "I found your papers," I said, pointing to the closet where I'd spotted a folder stuffed with loan rejections and credit card statements. You're in over your head, Nathan. Is that why you're pushing me to sell my share? To bail out your failing startup? He froze, his face paling. Before he could answer, Margaret and Claire appeared. Margaret's expression a mix of indignation and worry. "Elizabeth, you're making a scene," she said. "We have guests downstairs." "A scene?" I gestured at my ransacked penthouse. "You let people sleep in my bed, go through my journals, hack my systems, and you call me dramatic?" "We thought you wouldn't care," Claire said, her voice dripping with condescension. "You're never here, Liz. Always at work, always too busy for family." "Too busy?" I stepped toward her. "You scheduled this when I was gone, lied about the dates, and hoped I wouldn't find out. Were you planning to clean up before I got back, or just sell the house out from under me?" Margaret's hand flew to her chest. "Sell the house? Don't be ridiculous. This was about family, about honoring your father." "Then why wasn't I invited?" I demanded. "Why are there tech investors here, scoping out my home like it's a flipping Airbnb?" Nathan shifted, uncomfortable. "We're just exploring options. The market's hot. You're never here anyway. Claire and I could use the space, maybe start a family." There it was, the real agenda. They wanted me out, my half of the mansion theirs to leverage or sell. I felt the ground shift beneath me, the betrayal cutting deeper than I'd expected. My whole life I'd been the invisible Harper. Nathan was the golden child, his risky ventures toasted at every holiday, while my PhD, my patents, my late nights saving the world from cyber attacks were met with shrugs. "Liz works too hard," they'd say, like it was a flaw. Dad was the only one who saw me, slipping me notes of encouragement, telling me privately he was proud. But Dad was gone, and this family, these people I shared blood with, had just declared war. A crash from my bathroom jolted me. A boy, maybe 8, stood amid broken glass, my grandmother's antique perfume bottles in shards at his feet. "I was just looking," he mumbled, eyes wide. I knelt, picking up a fragment, the scent of lavender and betrayal choking me. "This is unacceptable," I said, standing, my voice low but lethal. "Get out, all of you." "Liz, calm down," Margaret said. "It's just stuff. Family is what matters." "Family?" I laughed, the sound hollow. "Family doesn't lie, invader sabotage. Family doesn't try to erase you." Nathan's face hardened. "You're taking this too personally. We'll fix everything. Just don't ruin this for everyone." "Ruin it?" I grabbed my laptop, shoving it into my bag. "You've already done that." I pushed past them, ignoring the stares from relatives as I descended the stairs. In the kitchen, I saw Claire directing aunts to use my specialty cookware, pans I'd explicitly said were off limits. A tech rival, Victor Crane, caught my eye from across the room. He sauntered over, his smirk oily. "Liz, rough night? I hear your servers took a hit. Join my firm, and I'll make sure that data stays contained." My blood ran cold. He knew about the hack. Was he behind it? "Stay away from me," I hissed, shoving through the crowd to the front door. Outside, the Seattle rain was a cold slap grounding me. I got to my car, a sleek Audi I'd bought with my first big bonus, and slid inside. But when I hit the gas, the brakes felt wrong. Mushy, unresponsive. I pumped them, my heart racing as I navigated a steep hill near the man. The car lurched, picking up speed. I yanked the wheel, swerving into a neighbor's hedge just before the road dropped into a ravine. Shaking, I climbed out, rain soaking my coat. The brake line had been cut. Someone, Nathan, Crane, or someone they'd hired, wanted me dead. I called an Uber, my hands trembling, as I booked a room at the Four Seasons downtown. In the hotel's quiet lobby, I spread out my photos on my laptop, the notes' words, "You don't belong here," burning in my mind. I texted Aunt Evelyn, Dad's older sister, the only relative I trusted. "Did you know about the gala?" Her reply came fast. "I asked if you were involved. Nathan and Margaret said you gave your blessing. I'm so sorry, Liz. I'm at the house. Where are you?" I didn't answer. I needed space, a plan. My phone buzzed with a call from Dr. Kessler. "Liz, NATO's interested in your protocol. They want you in London leading a cybersecurity unit. 3 years, full support. You in?" I stared at the city skyline, rain streaking the window. London. A chance to escape, to build something new. But the mansion, Dad's legacy, my home, was I ready to let it go? And who was behind the chandelier, the hack, the breaks, the note? I thought of Nathan's debts, Claire's ambition, Margaret's blind loyalty. They'd crossed a line, but I wasn't running. Not yet. I'd fight. Not with screams or tears, but with the precision of the coder I was. They wanted me gone. They'd learned what it cost to underestimate Elizabeth Harper. The Seattle rain was relentless, hammering the Four Seasons floor-to-ceiling windows as I sat in my hotel room, the city skyline a blur of neon and shadow. My laptop screen glowed with the photos I'd taken, my ransacked penthouse, the shattered remains of Dad's vintage computer prototype, the cryptic note, "You don't belong here." My hands still trembled from the near-death experience with my sabotaged brakes. The Audi now impounded for forensic analysis. Someone, Nathan, Victor Crane, or a player I hadn't identified, wanted me silenced, permanently. I wasn't just fighting for my home anymore. This was war, and I was coding my counterattack. I opened a secure VPN and emailed Aunt Evelyn, my only ally in this mess. "I'm safe. Hotel downtown. Did you hear anything about Nathan's debts or investors at the gala?" Her reply pinged back in minutes. "Liz, I'm horrified. Nathan was pitching the mansion to tech vultures last night, calling it a future-proof investment. He's in deep with some shady types. Be careful. I'm digging." Evelyn's words confirmed what I'd glimpsed in Nathan's financial papers. Massive debts, rejected loans, and a desperate plan to liquidate our home. My home. Death's legacy. My phone buzzed. Dr. Evelyn Kessler, my mentor from the San Francisco conference. "Liz, NATO's serious about you leading our cybersecurity unit in London. 3 years, state-of-the-art labs, global impact. But they need an answer by Monday. You in?" Her voice was warm but urgent, a lifeline dangling across the Atlantic. I glanced at the burner phone I'd found in my penthouse, its single contact labeled traitor. It sat on the desk, silent but screaming secrets. "I'm interested," I said, choosing my words carefully. "But I've got personal matters to resolve. Can I confirm in 48 hours? She agreed, but the clock was ticking. I needed a plan, and I needed it fast. I called Susan Reynolds, my attorney since I'd bought into the mansion. It was past midnight, but Susan answered on the first ring. "Liz, you sound like hell. What's happened?" I recounted the gala, the chandelier, the hack, the breaks, the note. Her silence was heavy, professional. "This is beyond a family dispute," she said finally. "We're talking attempted murder, cybercrime, and property violations. Your options are force a partition sale, splitting the mansion's value, demand Nathan buy you out at market price plus damages, or sue for privacy breaches and sabotage. The co-ownership agreement is ironclad. Unauthorized events over 15 guests and penthouse access are explicit violations. You've got leverage." "What about Mum's cottage?" I asked, picturing Margaret's tearful performance at the gala, claiming I'd ruined her life. "Her residency requires both our consents," Susan said. "Any sale or dispute could force a renegotiation. She's a complicating factor." Complicating was an understatement. Margaret had spent my life dismissing my work, calling my AI breakthroughs fancy coding, while Nathan's failed apps were visionary. Now she was playing the victim, and I wasn't sure how far she'd go to protect her golden boy. I hung up, my mind racing. The London offer was a dream, leading a NATO unit, building defenses against global cyber threats, surrounded by peers who'd value me. But walking away meant leaving Dad's legacy in Nathan's hands, letting him sell our home to vultures or worse. And the burner phone, the note, the brakes, someone was watching, waiting for me to slip. I wasn't just fighting for property, I was fighting for survival. The next morning, I met Susan at her downtown office, a sleek glass tower overlooking Puget Sound. Rain streaked the windows as we sat in her conference room, joined by a property law expert, Carla Nyan. I spread out my evidence, photos of the penthouse, screenshots of the hacked servers, the impound report on my car. Susan's jaw tightened as she read the note. "This is a threat, Liz. We need to involve the police." "Not yet," I said. "I need to know who's behind it. Nathan's desperate, but is he capable of this? Or is it Crane trying to poach my tech? Or someone else?" Carla nodded, flipping through the co-ownership agreement. "You've got a strong case. The gala violated multiple clauses, and the penthouse breach alone justifies damages. We can demand a buyout at market value. $3,200,000, 0 cents for your share, plus repair costs and punitive damages for the hack and chandelier. Or we force a sale, split the proceeds. Either way, Nathan's financial distress makes him vulnerable." I leaned back, the numbers grounding me. What about renting my penthouse? I could keep ownership, move to London, and let a management company deal with Nathan. Susan smiled, a rare crack in her stoic facade. "Smart. Elite Property Solutions specializes in high-end rentals. They'd handle tenants, maintenance, and act as a buffer. We'd amend the agreement to lock it in, blocking Nathan's ability to force a sale without your consent. By noon, we had a plan. I'd hire Elite to manage my penthouse, install biometric locks and cameras to secure it, and draft a formal notice to Nathan outlining his violations and my demands. Buy me out at market value plus $500,000, 0 cents in damages, or accept the rental arrangement. Susan emphasized written communication only. No emotional confrontations he could twist later. "And Liz," she added, "get a security detail. The brakes, the chandelier, someone's playing for keeps." Back at the hotel, I contacted Elite Property Solutions. Their director, Jennifer Collins, was crisp and professional, scheduling an inspection for the next day when Nathan would be at his office. I also hired a private cybersecurity firm to analyze my servers and trace the hack. Then I composed an email to the gala attendees, hundreds and hundreds of relatives and investors who'd partied in my home, oblivious to my exclusion. "Dear family and friends," I wrote, "I regret I was unable to attend the Legacy Lives On gala, as I was not informed of the event. My penthouse was accessed without consent, and I'm addressing the resulting damage. I'm excited to share that I've been offered a leadership role with NATO in London, advancing global cybersecurity. I hope to connect with you individually soon. Warm regards, Liz." The email was a calculated move, reshaping the narrative Nathan and Margaret had spun. Within hours, replies flooded in. Uncle David was mortified. "Liz, they told us you approved everything. I'm so sorry." Cousin Sophia wrote, "I had no idea. Nathan said you were too busy to care." Aunt Patricia called, her voice shaking. "I slept in your bed, Liz. They said it was fine. I feel sick." Their apologies were a small victory, but they confirmed the depth of the deception. Nathan and Margaret had lied to everyone, painting me as the absent, work-obsessed sister who'd given her blessing. My phone buzzed with a text from Nathan. "Where are you? Mom's freaking out. Call me." I ignored it, but the next message chilled me. "You can't hide forever, Liz. We need to talk about the house." Then a call from an unknown number. I let it go to voicemail, and a man's voice. low and unfamiliar, filled the room. "Dr. Harper, you're poking into things you shouldn't. Back off, or the next accident won't miss." My breath caught. I saved the voicemail, forwarded it to Susan, and called the cybersecurity firm. I need a trace on a number, now. That night, I couldn't sleep. The burner phone sat on my nightstand, its traitor contact a taunting mystery. I powered it on, half expecting it to explode. No calls, no messages, just that single word. Traitor. Was it Nathan warning me? Crane taunting me? Or someone closer, like Claire, whose ambition matched Nathan's? I paced the room, rain lashing the windows, when a soft hum broke the silence. I froze. A drone hovered outside, its red light blinking through the glass, a camera lens glinting. My heart raced as I dove for the curtains, yanking them shut. I grabbed my laptop, running a trace on nearby signals. The drone was streaming to a server in Seattle, encrypted but sloppy. Nathan's sloppy. Or someone he'd hired? I called hotel security, who found no trace of the drone but promised to sweep the perimeter. Shaken, I booked a new room under an alias and moved my belongings, my mind spinning. The chandelier, the brakes, the hack, the drone. This wasn't just about the mansion. Someone wanted me out of the game entirely. But why? Nathan's debts were bad, but murder? And the burner phone. Whose traitor was I? The next day, I returned to the mansion with Jennifer Collins for the property inspection. Nathan was at work, but Claire was home, her smile as fake as her tan. "Liz, you're back. Can we talk?" I ignored her, leading Jennifer upstairs. The penthouse was worse than I'd left it. New scratches on my desk, a water stain on the ceiling from a deliberate leak. Jennifer photographed everything, her expression grim. "This is vandalism, Dr. Harper. We'll document it for your claim." As we worked, Claire hovered, her questions barbed. "Renting your place? Really, Liz? Strangers in our home?" I kept my voice neutral. "It's my property, Claire. I'm exercising my rights." She scoffed, but her eyes darted to the cameras I'd installed, their red lights blinking. Jennifer handed me a contract outlining Elite's services, tenant vetting, rent collection, and a strict protocol for shared spaces. I signed, feeling a weight lift. This was my first move in the chess game, and Nathan wouldn't see it coming. Back at the hotel, Susan sent the certified letter to Nathan detailing his violations and my demands. I also installed biometric locks on my penthouse, the kind not even a hacker could crack. That night, my cameras caught an attempted break-in, a figure in a hoodie, face obscured, trying to jimmy the door. The alarm sent them running, but the footage was gold. I sent it to the cybersecurity firm, who traced the drone's server to a shell company linked to Nathan's startup. The net was tightening. The Pentagon called the next morning, their tone clipped. "Dr. Harper, your contract requires testimony at a classified hearing next week. We need details on your server breach. National security's at stake." My stomach dropped. Testifying meant exposing the hack, possibly implicating Nathan or Crane. If I named names, I'd drag Margaret into the mess, her golden boy's crimes staining her legacy. If I stayed silent, I risked my contract, my career. I promised to prepare, but the pressure was crushing. Then Victor Crane texted, "Heard about your hearing. Tough spot. My offer stands. Join me, and your problems disappear." I blocked him, but his words lingered. Was he the traitor? Or was he working with Nathan, exploiting his desperation? I needed answers, and the burner phone was my only lead. I took it to a tech contact, Alex, who cracked its encryption. The traitor contact traced to a prepaid SIM, bought in Seattle the day before the gala. No name, but the purchase location was a gas station near Nathan's office. Too close to be coincidence. I was spiraling, the threats closing in, when Aunt Evelyn called. "Liz, I found something. Nathan's been meeting with a group called BlackNet, cyber criminals, bad ones. His financial records mention a contract, $2 million 0 cents for consulting. I think he's selling your AI tech to them. My blood ran cold. Blacknet was notorious, linked to ransomware attacks on hospitals, power grids. If Nathan was involved, he wasn't just desperate, he was dangerous. And my servers, my protocols were the prize. I drove to a quiet cafe to think, but the world kept pressing. Margaret texted, "I'm in the hospital, Liz, heart palpitations. Your drama's killing me." I called her doctor, who confirmed mild stress but no crisis. Classic Margaret, wielding guilt like a weapon. Yet her message softened at the end. "Maybe we should have told you about the gala. I'm sorry." It was the first crack in her armor, but I wasn't ready to forgive. That night, I flew to London, accepting Kessler's offer. The NATO facility was a fortress of glass and steel, its labs humming with possibility. My team, Dr. Patel from India, Dr. Zhang from Singapore, and others, greeted me like a peer, not an outsider. Patel studied my protocol, his eyes alight. This could stop state-sponsored attacks cold. "You're a game changer, Liz." For the first time, I felt seen, valued, but the burner phone followed me, a shadow I couldn't shake. In London, I thrived, but the threats didn't stop. My apartment was bugged, tiny devices hidden in light fixtures traced to a Seattle IP. Nathan's reach was long, or Blacknet's was. I swept the place daily, my paranoia a constant companion. Nathan's calls hit 142, his voicemails a roller coaster of rage and regret. "You're ruining everything, Liz. The tenant's a creep. Mom's sick. Dad would hate this." Then softer. "I'm sorry, okay? Let's talk." Elite secured a tenant, a Cambridge professor, quiet and reliable. His rent funded my London life. But Nathan fought the arrangement, his attorney claiming it devalued the mansion. Susan shut them down, her documentation bulletproof. Meanwhile, the Pentagon hearing loomed, and a leaked email from Nathan's startup accused me of stealing his tech. I spent nights drafting rebuttals, my reputation on the line. NATO's Director General Voss added pressure. "Liz, if your family's tied to Blacknet, we need to know. Transparency is non-negotiable." I was trapped, my loyalty to Margaret warring with my duty to the truth. Then, a breakthrough. My AI protocol stopped a Russian cyber attack on NATO's grid, earning headlines. The world knew my name, but so did my enemies. A gala attendee, a low-level investor, sent me a video of my confrontation with Nathan, threatening to leak it unless I paid $1 million, 0 cents. I traced the email to Blacknet's servers. Nathan wasn't just in debt, he was their pawn. 6 months in, Nathan emailed from Dad's old study. "Liz, this house feels empty without you. I've been a jerk, envying your success. Claire's pregnant and I'm rethinking everything. Your tech's saving lives. Mom's got your article framed, though she won't admit it. It wasn't an apology, but it was raw, real." I replied, "Congrats on the baby. My protocol's at 92% threat detection. I'm not ready to forgive, but I hear you. The mansion was your dream, not mine. I've found my home here." Nathan offered to buy my share, $3,200,000, 0 cents. Funded by Claire's family, I consulted my London team, weighing freedom against Dad's legacy. Patel said, "You're building a new legacy, let the old one go." I agreed, stipulating a cybersecurity scholarship in Dad's name and Margaret's cottage security. The sale closed cleanly, my ties to the mansion severed. A year later, I returned to Seattle for a summit. Nathan, Claire, their son, and Margaret met me for dinner. It was awkward, silences heavy with history, but when I held their baby, his eyes, Dad's eyes, sparked something. Margaret softened, asking for breakfast before my flight. We didn't hug, but our eyes met, a quiet understanding. Back in London, my protocol saved millions, and I knew family isn't blood. It's the people who see you, fight for you. I'd coded my own legacy and no one could take that away.